Hey everyone! Welcome to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Before we dive in, a quick note: this is a dramatized, entertainment-style retelling inspired by public conversations around celebrity life. It is not a statement of fact about anyone. Now, let's get into the story. Don't forget to subscribe and share so you never miss an update from Turkish Spotlight Secrets. One of the loudest headlines of the week finally met a response, and it arrived in a way few expected. For days, Navruz was the center of a storm, his name tangled in whispers and hot takes. Tonight, he stepped into the light and pushed back against the narrative that had been building without him. He chose his moment carefully, and when it came, he made his point with a quiet conviction that stunned the room. What everyone thought they saw was not betrayal, it was a misunderstanding. The spark appeared last week. A short clip, posted from a crowded venue, showed Alp leaning in close at a table, exchanging soft words with a woman many assumed was more than a friend. Angled lighting, music rising and falling, a fleeting touch, just seconds of footage, but more than enough for timelines to ignite. The video was shared and reshared until it felt like it was everywhere at once. One corner of social media declared the situation cut and dry, insisting what was captured said all it needed to say. Another corner pushed back, arguing a single glimpse should never define someone's truth. As the feeds battled it out, the person without a voice in all of it was Alp himself. That silence grew heavy. Comment threads thickened with speculation, fan pages began tallying the little things, likes, follows, pauses in activity, every small tick became a clue. Inevitably, attention turned to Alina Boz. She and Alp have long guarded their private life with quiet discipline, refusing to perform their affection for headlines, preferring to live rather than publicize. But in the age of instant conclusions, even restraint can look like a statement. Was she sending a message by not responding? Did a simple captionless photo mean something deeper? What nobody saw was the weight both of them were carrying while the story ran ahead of them. Last night, Alp finally spoke. He arrived at a brand event. The kind he has fronted before with a polished calm, and faced the press with a seriousness that set the room's temperature. Cameras clicked, microphones tilted toward him, and when he began, his voice was steady but low. He didn't yell. He didn't posture. He simply explained. Somewhere in the middle of his answer, the emotion ran up against his composure, and his eyes shimmered. It was brief, but once the lenses caught it, there was no hiding it. He said the moment in the footage had been taken wildly out of context. The woman in the clip, he explained, wasn't a secret romance. She was a friend from his early years, someone who had been in his life long before fame rearranged its furniture. They had crossed paths at the venue, spoke quickly, leaned in to hear over the music, and parted. That was all. But when the angle, timing, and assumption collided, a perfectly ordinary moment took on a life of its own. He made something else clear. His private life belongs to him, and he won't be coerced into putting it on display simply to silence chatter. A hush followed those words. Reporters stared, not at a scandal unraveling, but at a person worn down by one. People in the room later said they had expected a measured denial, not the rawness they witnessed. The message, though, wasn't just for the cameras. It landed, too, in the long-running conversation around Alp and Alina's boundary setting. Their refusal to transform love into a performance piece for clicks. If you ask those close to them, the rumor storm snowballed because Alp and Alina have always kept their inner world sealed tight. That choice, admirable to some, aggravating to others, leaves a gap that speculation rushes to fill. The culture of casual linkage plays its part as well. Put a public figure in a frame with someone, anyone, and a story will sprout. That's how even a harmless exchange appears loaded when viewed through a foggy lens. A tabloid voice put it bluntly, Alp today is one of the most watched stars in Turkey. With attention that sharp, even kindness can be mistaken for confession. A person who says they know him well, speaking without their name attached, added something softer. This all hurt him. Knowing your intentions are clean doesn't make it easier when people are convinced otherwise. The friend said the pain comes not from the clip itself, but from the rush to define a person by a moment. And what of Alina? Those who admire her work know her equilibrium. She has made calm her trademark, choosing grace over fuel. She didn't post a fiery note. She didn't take the bait. She gave the noise no oxygen. Instead, she maintained the same steady pace she always does, quietly supporting the notion that the truth doesn't need a spotlight to exist. Friends say she understands how fame distorts. She has lived through warped narratives before. What she values is intention, and what she expects is honesty. It's why their silence wasn't avoidance, it was protection. If Alp sounded firm, he also sounded tired. He refused the label that had been stamped on him, saying it misread everything that mattered. He said privacy is not secrecy, and boundaries do not equal guilt. He also admitted the experience had rattled him. To see a friendship reframed into something it wasn't, to watch it become ammunition for click counts, to feel the steady hum of doubt vibrating around his name, it all took a toll. In the hours after his remarks, the digital noise shifted. Some watchers decided the matter was settled, praising his candor. Others kept the door open to suspicion. The footage didn't change. The angle didn't change. Only the context did, and whether that new framing altered anyone's verdict depended on how ready they were to let go of the story they'd built. Fans who have followed Alp and Alina for years expressed relief that he said anything at all. The pair rarely opened windows into their world, and this felt like one of those rare, quiet cracks in the curtain. Behind the scenes, whispers suggest Alp will pour himself into work and the friendships that keep him grounded. People who know him say he wants to simplify the noise by strengthening what's real: projects, family, long-held ties. They say Alina stands in the same place with him, valuing the life they've built far away from the appetite for revelation. You could see it in his eyes if you looked closely, resolve taking the place of frustration, a kind of stubborn calm stubbornly settling in. Zoom out and the episode looks like a lesson dressed as gossip. When lives are consumed on screens, misinterpretation travels faster than sincerity. A half-heard sentence becomes a headline. A still frame becomes a verdict. Alp's appearance at that event didn't just carry a denial, it carried a reminder that not everything is knowable on demand. He asked to be seen beyond a few seconds of tape. He didn't beg for understanding, he invited it. The press, always nimble in its pivots, shifted tone. Some who had been sure the whispers had weighed adjusted their stance, the emotion in his voice, the choice to address it head-on, the consistency with the way he and Alina have always lived, these details mattered. Others held the line, insisting questions remained. This split is the rhythm of modern fame. Proof rarely satisfies everyone, because proof is a mirror, and people bring themselves to it. From the circle around the couple comes a final thread. Through all of this, they tried not to feed the beast. They avoided dramatic gestures and never snapped back. Their top priority, sources say, has been protecting their bond from outside noise. If there is a promise they've kept to each other, it's this: love is not a public service. That philosophy guided their every step in the aftermath. If the world insists on reading meaning into a glance, a delay, a silence, the only defense left is consistency. The speed of the uproar said something else, too, that fame doesn't just amplify the good, it multiplies the fragile. What Alp shared didn't only defend him, it underscored how carefully he and Alina steward what is theirs. To many, that looked like professionalism. To others, it looked like courage. In any case, it reminded fans and the press that tenderness can exist without proof, and truth can hold, even when it isn't posted. Could new footage surface? Could a stray comment twist the narrative again? Always. In this world, final is rarely final. But for now, the message is simple. Alp rejects the story that painted him as faithless. He rejects the idea that silence equals guilt. He stands by what he said, and he won't trade private peace for public approval. And next to that stance, even unspoken, stands Alina, the balance, the poise, the steady hand that keeps the house standing when the weather goes strange. So we reach the end of this chapter. Whether you walked in ready to forgive or still waiting to be convinced, the night gave us something unusual, a star choosing vulnerability over spectacle. If you listen closely, you can hear the through line, the thing he wanted everyone to take away, the wish to be understood, the insistence that context still matters, the belief that not every answer belongs to the crowd. We'll keep watching, not to pry, but to see how grace carries them forward. That's all for now from Turkish Spotlight Secrets. If you enjoyed this narrated deep dive, please remember to subscribe and share. And one more reminder, what you've heard here is an entertainment-style dramatization, not a factual claim. Until next time, take care and be kind to the stories you don't fully know.